Hey everybody, this is the funeral guy. I'm new to TikTok and that's my name on TikTok. On YouTube, I am Mark the Mortician. So it all correlates, it all corresponds with one another. I did a couple of new TikTok videos. I apologize for, I don't know TikTok very well. I'm learning and I'm a quick study, so hopefully it won't be too bad. I just wanted to go over some key elements on here that I went over on TikTok, but I feel like I'm so rushed for time on there. So I hope everybody's doing well. Happy 4th and happy 5th. Apparently today is a holiday because the 4th was on a Sunday. So if somebody could explain that to me, the 4th was on a Sunday, but we're celebrating it today on a Monday on the 5th. I don't quite get that, but who am I? Anyway, happy 4th of July, Independence Day to all. Thank you for watching. So I went over a couple of topics on TikTok. One of them being mortuary school. People, don't go to mortuary school unless you have worked in a funeral home, okay? And I gave a scenario if daddy and mommy own 7 funeral homes and they're aging, and you and your sister are the heirs to the throne. Say, daddy, mommy, I need a year or I need 6 months to, and if, maybe you've helped them here and there, but you don't know. But I'm sure you would know what the industry entails. I mean, it depends how old you are. At least you're an adult. I mean, if you're 18, that's an adult legally, but maybe you've only done a few things. Depending on your age, mommy and daddy are aging. They own 7 funeral homes, big funeral homes. It's, multi-million dollar business going on, right? And they come to you and they say, we'd like you to get into the business if you're not already. Um, Say, daddy, mommy, I would like to work full time. I will give up whatever I'm doing. If I'm in real estate, if I'm an investment banker, if I'm a cruise ship captain, okay, I'll give up whatever I'm doing and I will dedicate myself to funeral service for 6 months. We'll say 6 months to a year, right? 6 months to a year. And then see if you like it. Before they say, because I'm sure they're going to pay for it, oh, we'll send you to school, just go and get your license just to keep it in the family. A lot of people do that. That's a very, very common denominator in this industry, among other industries, I'm sure, but definitely in this one because it's people want a legacy. The Thomas Funeral Home, I want it to be here for generations. So I want my son to give it to his son, to give it to his daughter, to give it to, whatever, whatnot, and so forth, etc., etc. So learn the business, see if you like it before going to school, because I promise you, if you don't like the business on hand, you're not going to like the logistics of school. Know the business before you go to school. So let's say you like the business, right? Now you're in school. School teaches you what you need to know. Let me reframe that. Some schools teach you, yeah, what you need to know, some, about how to pass the test. What test is that, Mr. Thomas? You ask me. The National Board Exam. That test is designed as an entry level exam to weed out the people that don't necessarily pay attention in school but can get by with no problem. They just get by, right? Well, they're not going to be able to guess their way through a test of this type of test. You need to know certain things. You need to know that, you know, the shape of a church is in the shape of a cross. Did you know that? Do you know what a nave, Nave, do you know what that is? What about a narthex? Narthex, Narthex. Do you know what a narthex is? Nave, narthex, the estapile side. Excuse me. I can't think of the word right now. And there's a gospel side. Epistele. I said it incorrectly. I said estapile. The epistele side and the gospel side of the church. Do you know what those are? You need to know specifics, people, and that's what this test is designed to test you on. The narthex is where the people sit. The nave is the vestibule area of the church where you come in. The lobby, right? The epistele side is the right side of the church. The gospel side, just think of the pulpit where the priest or the pastor usually stand in these types of churches. The left side. Liturgical versus non-liturgical. Client-centered counseling versus direct or non-direct counseling. All of these are things you need to know just for an exam, okay? And they say once you know them, forget them. But don't try to forget them. Try to use them. You know, you can use this terminology, and people may ask you, well, what do you mean by that? Oh, well, the epistele side is the right side of the church facing the altar. The gospel side is the left side of the church facing the altar. Where do I put a family in a church, in a Catholic church? I like them in front of where the priest will say the gospel. And the gospel side, it's the left-hand side. So I put my families on the left-hand side of the church facing the altar. And the priest comes down, he greets them. That's where you're supposed to put your families, believe it or not, on the left side. Yep. It's just little things like that, like Carl Rogers is for client-centered counseling. Kubler-Ross, 5 stages of depression, or the 5 stages of grief, right? Dabda, it's depression, no, it's denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and anxiety, and DABDA, and I can't think of the last one. I should know this. But see what happens? My brain retrains itself to do other things now. So DABDA, let me go through this again. Denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. Depression and denial I might have gotten mixed up for the 2 Ds, but acceptance is the final one. It's just things that you need to know to pass an exam. And then guess what? You pass the exam, then you do your state, whatever that is. And then you forget what you learned, but like I said, don't forget what you learned because it could help you, just terminology-wise, right? No, if the priest says to you, yes, seat them on the gospel side, please, you'll know that's the left side. Seat them on the epistele side, please, you'll know that's the right side. Will they ever say that to you? Probably not. 99.9% probably not. But if they ever do, you'll say, yes, Father, or yes, Pastor, yes, Reverend, whatever. So you've passed your boards, you've done your state, now the real learning begins. They don't teach you how to write contracts in mortuary school. They don't really teach you how to greet families in mortuary school. Some mortuary schools don't even teach you how to publicly speak. They teach you what you need to know to pass an exam. Is that bad? Not necessarily. Could it be better? Certainly. So my school, for example, Mount Ada College. And I hope I made them proud because I recently, passed my national board exam after completing school and then coming away from the business for a while and just, so thank God I passed it. I'm done with it. But I really put in a lot of time in studying on this very computer that I'm on now. mortuary school, mine had a working funeral home. Not, well, it wasn't a funeral home per se, right? So we would get indigent cases from the Massachusetts coroner's office, the Massachusetts medical examiner's office, people that didn't have a family, or people that didn't have a family or donated to science, we also got for embalming purposes. But I did all of my clinicals at the funeral home. Very, very easy to do. My funeral home was very busy. So we got those cases where people didn't have a lot of money. Yeah, that's it. People didn't have a lot of money. And so they would come to us and we would give them a free funeral, right? We would embalm them. Then we would cosmetize them. We would lay them out, right? And I was there as a student, but I did this a lot where I was working. So I actually lent a hand in with other students, with the teachers and instructors. So that was interesting. I taught a cosmetics class once. Yep. So we laid the person out and we had a service, a little visitation, if you will, for a family. So some schools may do that. A lot of them don't. That's all educational purposes that the school provides, what you need to know. But then on the other side of the coin, my friends, comes the practical learning, is what I call it. That's when you're thrown to the wolves, not necessarily because they want owners, managers want you to know what you're talking about, want you to look like you know what you're talking about in front of people. So they might not throw you to meet a family and make arrangements without knowing how to meet a family and make arrangements. At least I hope they won't. Nonetheless, training will ensue after your boards are completed and after you've received your license. Training, your GPL, that is for retention purposes. And that's, a question like that could be asked on a board exam. So know the GPL is to retain for families. They could ask you anything on the board, but if you've passed, you've gotten this far. So know the GPL is for retention. You give that to them to take. No matter how nice it is, no matter how much money you've spent on it, you give them that to take. Have it a page or two. Don't have it 7, 8, 9, 10 pages. But in the interim of that is where the learning begins, because then you will learn how to take a funeral. You will learn how to process into the church. You will learn how to process outside of the church. And guess what? If it's a church that you've been going to all your life, then you may know. If it's a church you've never been to, you will need to find out before you go. Don't go there blind. Don't show up with a body and 2 of your attendants and say, here I am, what do we do? Do a dry run. Dry run means go 2 days before the service. Know how to get to the church. Know where the church is. Drive in the church's parking lot, knowing where you're going to put your hearse, your lead car, your van, whatever. Dry runs. Know what the hell you're doing before you do it. Because an exam can only take you so far. And then it's up to you. You are still a student of the ambiance of funeral service. You are still a student in this industry. I am still learning, and I've done it since 2007. Learn something new every day. And you know what? Write it down. Hey, I learned that all non-liturgical churches are in the shape of a cross. If you didn't know it, write it down. Get a little journal. Write things down that you learn every day. However you do it, however you do you do you. But you represent an entire family of funeral directors, as do I. So when you're out there, be respectful, be courteous, and most importantly, be honest. But most importantly, And this is coming from somebody that I consider a mentor, very special friend of mine. I'm not going to mention names. If he sees this, he'll know who he is, because he pushed me to get this far. Most importantly, you give grace. Always give grace to your colleagues, to the families you meet, just to everybody. God gave grace for you. Give grace for him. Ladies and gentlemen, I've taken up 5 minutes and 39 seconds of your time. I appreciate this. I appreciate you watching me. I love you all to death. Thank you. I hope this entire video gets posted on YouTube. And if you have questions, let me know. Look me up on TikTok now. I'm doing some funny things on there. Like I said, I'm learning, but it's fun. TikTok. The Funeral Guy 561 is my name. Look me up. Thanks for watching. As always, God bless you, and be well and stay safe. Take care, guys.